Mark is on with me.
You gotta know that promotional study. Well,
Okay, guys, 4 o'clock, July 22nd. Call to the order, please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, you might notice we have a new camera and audio, so hopefully it'll be a little better for everybody that wants to watch it online, pick up more. So, minutes, July 12th. Have you all read it? Read it?
yeah.
Any changes, corrections, additions? No. Is there a motion to accept the July 12th? Minutes?
Make the motion to accept the July 12th, 2022 minutes.
Second?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And then we have the public hearing meeting minutes on July 20th. Any changes on this?
I didn't.
Okay. The motion to accept these minutes?
I'll move it.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Public works.
So are we going to read this by?
Yeah, F down, over.
Okay, good.
Oh, a duet. A duet. Do you want to see us both? We're almost done with our sewer irrigation. We've got 2 weeks left on that. We'll be down, we'll have the pond down low enough, and we are at a critical stage. If we lose power right now, we'll lose our prime, and we won't be able to prime that pump again. So we're keeping our fingers crossed right now that we do not have a glitch in the power at all between now and the next week to 2 weeks, and then we'll have pond level down where we can sustain the rest of the year without any irrigation. And October is the last month that we can irrigate, so if we lost it right now, it'd be real marginal if we had enough freeboard in our pond to hold it all, because we probably wouldn't get the pump started again down below. And our water is, we're running our booster pump right now for our fresh water, and we are, with everybody irrigating lawns the amount that they are, we are just barely keeping everything full at this point. We are full, but our filter beds are getting a little bit lower. We're losing low ground on that. And so we're asking that we go to lawn watering from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. at this point. And then Chris called today with the Forest Service, and they're done up at McCully Creek. They've got it all trimmed up really nice. They did a wonderful job up there. And I mean, it's really a good job. And he wanted us to let his supervisor know that we were really pleased with it. And it was going to be up to us to burn the piles that are all along the edge of the road. And Chris told me that it's going to be their crew going up there this fall. Hopefully this fall, if the weather will work out, that they can burn those piles of debris that they hand pile. And there's a lot of piles. So, and that was gonna be on us, but they're stepping it up to do all the burning of those piles, which is huge. We'd have to have a fire truck up there if we were to do it ourselves, for sure. And, what else we got? We got the fairgrounds all closed up, the runners were here. Martin had asked that we get some stop signs put up on the road for their return. We got those put in place, and I think that helped, I'm sure.
Helped a lot.
Yeah. And we're the owners of those stop signs. The county wanted us to purchase those, and they need to be used in a lot of other applications other than just that event, too. And what else we got? Oh, Anthony with the tree service, he got that big pine tree down that was leaning, was in our roadway, it was leaning over that house. They've got that down, and they just finished up today at the park up there on the Willow up there, and that looks really good. I just was up there. There's plenty of room to plow around that now. They've got it proved up real high. Looks really good. So they're done. That's about it.
Water ration?
You want to do water ration? I would like to see that take place, so we aren't suffering on water. I think from 6 to 9 a.m. That's 3 hours of watering at this point for anybody. You can water a lot of ground, you know.
You don't want them always done.
No, I'd rather it be better in the morning if possible.
Which is so 6 a.m. 9 a.m.
I think we should start there. Last year we ended up in a full non-irrigation of anything. Until we get that redwood tank offline and get that valve in so that we can use the 300-gallon tank with our contact tank, that's going to save us 96,000 gallons a day, which is huge. And at that point, if we get that in, I would say
No restriction.
there would probably be no restriction at that point.
And
That's
it's
a
still
huge-
legal,
Oh, yeah.
And then, we have quite a bit of info for McCullough.
Yeah, we've got plenty of info right
So
now.
you're gonna have Byron go up and dig that out again?
Oh, that's another thing. Didn't have that down. Yeah, Byron's gonna go up tomorrow, and he said that his bill would be $250 to take his track hole up there and dig out the inlet on that. And that's about, he removed probably, I don't know,
100 yards?
80 yards of material with that backhoe while it was there.
Okay.
And that keeps us from hand shoveling and the rock going into the weirs of, and that's a 2-day job, hand shoveling that out of there. And since he's been going up there and digging that out, we haven't had to go in there and do any hand shoveling at all. So.
You got a question back here.
Can I make a suggestion regarding your watering time?
Yeah,
If you would start your watering at 7 at night and go till 10 at night, you won't have an issue with what they call evapotranspiration, which is where the air is so warm that it evaporates at a faster rate. You'll also get better saturation in the ground because the ground will be cooling, the temperatures will be cooling, so people won't be just wasting the water by putting it on. If you put it on in the morning, you also can do more damage to the grass because it'll heat up the leaves
yeah.
and burn it. So just for conservation reasons, it's just a discussion.
Let's see, council can decide on that because, the only issue I have with that at all is there would be no way for us to police whether somebody's watering all night long or not. You could turn a sprinkler on and go to sleep and never wake up till the next morning, you know, that's the only, we talked about that, when we were doing restriction. I thought maybe the 6 to 9 would be the better end for us. It might not be the best for the plants and what you're saying, but there's no way for us to police it, and we're not gonna drive around roads totally policing it, but if we see a big loss in water in the morning or whatever, we would probably drive through town a little bit and see who's watering past 9 o'clock, you know, or whatever.
And that
So,
would make sense for monitoring purposes.
yeah, that's the only reason we would want to not do maybe the evening, that's,
Plus, you know, that wind in the morning
Yeah.
So,
We do get one.
can you guys at some point when you're out, stop by or take like?
Okay, we had to last year. Well, we had to
I
last
just wanted to them too, but I think coming from you guys,
year. Okay,
because they're either going all
yeah.
the same place.
What's the current status on the disposition of hit waste and or grasses? Somebody still owns stuff out there with the belly path, and then so the trees got dumped, chips.
Oh, chips, we decided to put chips on the dirt road there, going, keep the dust down, going out to the pavilion. And we told them just a limited amount of like 5 or 6 loads at most, so we cover that dirt road with it. But, and that's just gonna be, spread out maybe on the dirt road, but there shouldn't be any more dumping at all, in the corner there where we have been dumping debris. There shouldn't be anything going on out there.
Some guy with a tractor, or a trailer, sorry, pulled up there with a load of grass.
Oh, really?
Right.
Did he have a lawnmower? Was he going on a lawnmower?
I think so.
That might have been,
That was David Trail.
I don't
I don't
know.
think he's got the word.
And that might have been the grass clippings from the post office or whatever, I don't know, we'll talk.
We'll let him know.
We didn't get the memo.
I didn't get the memo.
Yeah. We'll talk, but nobody should be dumping in there, out there at all. And we're more than likely done putting chips on that road, we gotta spread it out, other than that.
It's a nice gas suppression.
It was weeds, it wasn't grass. It's 2 or 3 loads went by my house.
Oh, okay. Probably.
Do you have a timeline when that redwood thing, when you'll be able to take that on?
We know at this point, the engineers are trying to get, somebody to install the valve in.
We got to remove one electric valve, pick up the heat system, shut water off, on automatically.
And we have all the okay from everyone to do this process, we get our contact on the big thing. But it's just a matter of getting contractors to come up here and install that, is what's going.
City electrician.
Yeah, the engineers are, as far as I know, they're trying to find somebody.
That's why I asked. you, so. Okay.
And then, back to McCauley, did we find out whether or not that's 3-inch minus? Call or does
No,
that
it doesn't have to
It's
be
crushed, just crushed rock is there. Okay, so it would be crushed.
fractured rock.
Okay, yeah. So that'll probably have to come from over.
And Chris did mention that to me, if and when we would be, and I told Chris that you were checking into with new maybe or whatever, what the availability is for crushed rock for up there would be.
Yeah, because Noodle right now, for what they're doing out there, they're just screening the rock, and it's the same stuff with time waste, but it's not factored in that board, so you'll probably end up having to get it from part of that.
Nobody's crushing out there?
They're crushing, but it's all
Oil,
oil, it's all oil rock, because they're hauling out everything that they've made, because they're not gonna make any more for the county. The county wants to lose that stuff because it's been costing them for them. Because they're scalping it before they screen, or they're screening it, scalping it off before they crush it.
Should we have to cut
Probably not, because the other stuff for what it is, because I went and looked at that pile, and it's a pretty good pile, and it'll do what we need to do on the streets and stuff, the subgrade, because they will come back, it's the same stuff that they.
Well, maybe,
And the thing is, though, it's actually smaller because it's more than people overnight.
maybe I'll contact Chris and see if possibly we can change the spec on the rock, and maybe get his okay, or get him to look at it and see if we can maybe use something other than fractured rock up there.
Yeah, because like I said, their rock that they're gonna have out there, Noodle says that they got a lot of it, spoken for that's gotta go up to Greenhorn. He doesn't really know how much is out there. When I checked that pile, and I told Noodle wrong, he probably figured that out, but I figured there was 100,000 yards there, but there's 100,000 cubic feet, which is only about 10,000 yards. So I don't know how much the county needs and how much they promised out. Because we're talking about getting some of it for us too, which it'd be really cheap for us. because it's not crushed, so we don't have to pay for any of the crushing part.
Well, maybe
It's a junk product for what they're doing now.
see what's gonna, maybe check with him and see what's gonna be available and then.
Yeah,
and I'll talk to Chris. and see
Because
if they'll-
we probably don't have to worry about this until probably October, before it snows, right?
Yeah,
Because like I said, it's not dirt, it's got sand in it, so it will bind.
yeah,
It'll be pretty messed up if they'll allow us to do that.
okay,
But I know we'll probably end up with some, I don't know how much. We don't know yet.
all right,
Because they're gonna do the same thing, they're gonna scalp the same stuff off to make the asphalt grade, which they should be crushing this week. That was the plan.
all right.
So is anything else, Tim and Joe?
I don't think so.
So that'd be all right then to let Byron go up there for $250 to dig that out. Yeah, I'm hoping that that's all go. Okay,
And it saves from having to pay you to do it. We'll show.
thank you, appreciate that.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, on to business, we have several, planning. Oh,
Yeah, under public work. We talked about reimbursing Tim back for the backflow test. That's where this is put, so. Which is $560, and we talked about this in a meeting, in a workshop, so. I make the motion that we pay Tim back for the test, for the backflow test that he paid for, $560. Second.
Is it gonna interrupt the motion for a minute? Is it gonna come out of the training budget?
That's where it should come out.
okay, well, then made and seconded to, reimburse him. All in favor? All opposed? Okay, all approved. Okay, now on to planning. We got Vegan Vines, they have two things, they have a lot line adjustment and then a fence application. They, so on this map, it shows where the new lot line adjustment is going to be straight across.
Used to be you didn't need a LUC for a fence unless it was over 6 feet. Is that changed?
Well, they acquired a new lot, this lot in addition to their existing property, correct? Right? Yeah. So that lot 11 is. And they took, and they're, if you see, they're leaving a little corner there for lot 13, they're just doing a straight across. So that's why they wanted the lot line.
No, I thought we were talking about the fence.
We're talking about it.
Oh, well, I thought we had to do the lot line first to get the fence. up.
Okay, go ahead and do the lot.
Well, I mean, because the fence is,
I'm flexible.
yeah, okay. Because the lot line has to be approved and then we can do the fence because it's going to go around the new area. That's how I understand it. So does anybody have a problem with the lot line adjustment?
No.
Do I have a motion to approve their lot line application? Somebody?
Make a motion to approve the lot line adjustment for the Ziggin Vines.
Right, second? Okay, all in
Aye.
favor? Aye. All opposed? Through that, so then they apply to do a fence around the new lot. They have two fences. Lot 12 is already fenced, they're adding a fence around lot 11. And yes, we've always had to do these applications for fences.
Well, no, we didn't always.
Well, we just.
If we do now.
Yeah, for a long time.
Oh, we do, okay.
Yes. So,
And I don't see any problem with the fence being 6-foot fence, what they're asking for, because it's not on a corner.
I agree.
so do I have a motion to accept their,
Also,
okay, so a second? Second. All in favor? All opposed? Well, we can do that, we'll email and let them know. Then we have, the Ballards have a lean-to that they want to add onto an existing building. So,
what zone's that in?
CR. So this is this an additional lot? I don't think the 1,500 is an additional lot, Renee, that's the.
There is lot 1,400 and lot 1,500. They own all of it.
So I guess the question was, their new lean-to is actually going to be actually on lot, it's going to go over to lot 15. And
You don't.
No. You know,
you want mine?
oh, thank you.
They're on it, but that's their two. They're on that lot, yeah.
The thing is, with the addition, it doesn't go over two different lots.
It does go over 2 different lots.
Oh, that, then how come one says 44?
Well,
That wouldn't be right,
there,
because if there was another lot line that goes through the middle of the division, then they wouldn't have the setback.
my understanding is that this goes over into the second lot. I think it's lot 1,500 on this map, on the city map. I'm looking at-
Yeah, they just did a drawing where the house and the shed is on the city map, so you can't see it on there.
It's the sheds. 1,500, we got a shed right here in this corner.
And they're, what do you?
It's a total of, this is one.
Right. How do
The lots are 50 by 100.
Okay, thanks.
So,
And then, is there ever? Is there a pin or anything on the place? We know?
pins,
I believe there's a pin on the corner of Cracker Street and North Street.
over there, yeah. Cracker North.
Okay, I mean, do we know?
I saw it
Okay,
on the corner of Cracker and North.
okay. And so this thing 5 feet back from that. From that line. With that pin marks, yeah.
That's on the opposite side of where they're talking.
But if there's a pin at north and Cracker,
Yeah, right here.
okay, so the setback is then from this line. Here, right?
Yeah, so you're gonna have your commercial, well, there is no setback in a commercial residential zone on the front. Because this is the road, this would be the front.
Okay. There's no setback. That's ridiculous.
So is there any problem with this being constructed and being hanging over the other lot?
I would prefer, because it's a separate tax law, and if you put the lien to off of the original tax law and lead it on to the additional tax law they just bought, if for some reason anybody decided to sell that lot, you have a building hanging on to the separate tax law. It should probably be all under one tax law if they're gonna extend the garage and lean to all the way across.
How much of the lean-to slots over the line? On the new lot?
6 feet, well, I don't
The
know.
whole thing,
Well, we don't know.
the 6 by 12
addition.
12,
It's for a lawnmower.
yeah. So it's over the other lot.
We'll tear it down if we ever sell that lot. I promise.
How much of it is over the lot line? All 6 feet of it?
Yeah,
No, I would say maybe 4, actually. I think.
Well, if that's the case, it is the existing structure violate the setback of the other lot?
Do not ask me. I'm not, like, don't know this stuff.
Maybe we ought to have a look at this thing.
It's all of our land.
But that may be, but we have a zoning code.
yeah, but the house, all this is within the setbacks with their lot, the third lot.
With the new law, but it was an illegal construction of a building apparently, if it's only 4 feet over for a rear lot.
It's 5 feet.
You see this building, wherever they had it,
Yeah.
there's a lot line that runs right down here.
Mhm.
It was all okay with the last people that were in here.
Okay. It may not be, or it may, be, I don't know. But if,
Well, that's what I was, well, I don't know. That's why I don't know if they need to do a land or lot adjustment, which is the proper way to do this,
Right,
is do the lot adjustment to make this third lot.
to make it so it's on the right tax line.
That's my question is, does it need to have a lot line adjustment to do the addition?
Or put it all under one tax law.
Yeah, and put it all in one tax lot.
Which would be, well, but if you did that, you would be getting rid of,
this is illegal because it's within 4 feet of that line.
Yeah, this is, I believe, is on the property along the commercial building.
But this is a residential building.
This is the house that's a shed.
But in the CRs, the residential setbacks apply.
They do, don't they?
Yeah, they do. The residential setbacks apply in that zone. Now, it's commercial use, right? You're, okay?
For the lawnmower,
No, the whole thing.
sure.
You,
We have a business license, so, yep,
okay, and what is the business called?
MK Enterprises.
Okay, your license is from who?
You guys.
Oh, okay,
They have a regular business license here.
okay, because the state does not recognize that entity. MK Enterprises is not recognized by the state. Law requires you have to have that when you use a name other than the person's individual name.
I know, did you go and
No,
file your?
they didn't, I checked.
Oh.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we have this application and the issue is, are we turning this down for the addition or are we requesting them to do something else with this addition? What is
I think all that you can do at this time is turn it down with a proviso that they could request a lot line adjustment because until they purchased this, their original building was illegal and violated the setbacks.
so they can file for a lot line?
Yeah, they can do it the right way, regardless of what anybody said who sat here before.
Can you put it all under one tax law, either or? It's two separate tax lots.
Tax lots have nothing to do with it. You can go to the assessor and have, 5 tax lots on a piece of property, or you can have 20 parcels and have it under one tax lot. That is not determinative. It's the plat that counts. And so if they did a lot line adjustment or something like that, then it makes the original structure legal. Or can,
Yeah,
and then this one. And provided all the other setbacks are met.
okay. Charlie, you good with that or what?
Yeah, I think that's what needs to be done to make it
So
right.
we need to get a lot line adjustment, okay? And she's got the paper, Renee's got the paperwork. And then I think we have another one that's in addition to this, and I think it's under the same, we've got the same issue. Patricia Delman. They want to add a new single family dwelling to their existing. It looks like they have 3 lots, but they didn't fill in where everything was on this diagram. They did a nice diagram, but we don't know on the city plot maps.
Yeah, that's not marked on here. Let's request that they put it on the, show where the buildings are on the city map.
So this one's going to be sent back to show where everything is on the city maps. And then we have one more. That is a lot line adjustment application. The lawyer sent them out. So they've got, the McKinneys are adding, and it shows the pins, all the pins on this map. They're adding onto their property, and then Amber Wave's property, so they didn't have subpar lots, are changing the lot lines on lot 3940 and 3233, so they're all the correct size.
This is insurance, what they're doing. So. And they're. This is Intermountain Law. And they're gonna do a lot line adjustment, so all of these are not so far. There's one in there.
Okay, yeah, I don't have a problem.
Okay,
Doing that.
no problem with this one. Do I have a motion to accept this one, to move on?
This one being this one, okay.
Yes. But, yes, we have a motion, yes, to move on for this
Yeah.
one, okay?
I think you had a motion, didn't you?
No, I'm asking for a motion.
Okay, I'll make
Okay,
a
do I
motion.
have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor? To approve it? Aye,
Aye.
opposed? Okay, we'll get a hold of them too. Okay, should go to the old business. So. So the next thing we have is the Right House lease. And John Young had something he wanted to say about this.
Really sorry I have to be up here wasting everybody's time. But I guess I got no choice because I believe in the project. I think it's good for the city. Just a brief background, in case council doesn't know. The state bought that property in 2001. And added the heater in 2013. The state used it for photo exhibits, open houses. I know I did several hours there to help Randy out. Somewhere in 2013 or 15, state decided they weren't going to put any more money in projects like the Wright House all over the state. Somewhere in there, somebody had the idea to offer the house to the city with the idea the city would get grants and rebuild it. And council actually did vote to approve that, and everything got put in motion. Then I left council, Melissa Finley came on, killed the project. Melissa gets recalled, Leland comes on, Leland gets recalled, Kerry comes on as mayor. Sometime in the summer of or fall of 2017, Tony, Kerry, and Gary Booth walked through the Wright House. Gary inspected it. Gary Booth was the inspector at that time, the city inspector, Baker City inspector. The comments that Gary made were that the house was structurally sound, could be rebuilt, and he also told Kerry and Tony that no permits would be required. Kerry remembers that distinctly. Tony remembers him saying that, but she thinks he also said that we need to check every once in a while if anything gets done. Going through my file, I ran into some notes I made on April 12, 18. I was talking with Kim. He's the inspector that took Gary's place when Gary retired. These are my notes. Talk with Kim at Baker. 1, confirm. Need a licensed contractor for electrical and plumbing work. B, do not need any building permits. 2, invited Kim to inspect house. He accepted and will drop by. To my memory, he came by in either the later part of May or perhaps early June, but I know the snow was off the front steps. We could actually walk up into the house. He looked around inside the house. He went around all the way around the house except for the north side of the house. There was still some snow piled against the north edge of the house. He said the house looks sound to him. There was a lot of work to do. He kind of joked about that. A couple of weeks ago or a few weeks ago, an inspector by the name of Ken walked through with Linda. What's that?
Steve Shallow.
Okay. His only question as far as the structural on the house, from what Linda told me, was on the north side of the house, the foundation area. Is that correct?
No, he was concerned about the front.
Huh?
He was concerned about the front cover also.
Okay, but he was concerned about the north part of the house, right?
Yes.
Okay. In the preservation plan that was done by Miranda and her intern that one year, they note that there is damage on that side of the house, probably caused by the state when it put the vent in for the heater. And also, Charlie, is the last 2 years the state has not plowed the road through that lot? 2 or 3?
This be third.
This will be the third in the last 2 years. Prior to that, every year since we've lived here, the state has plowed through the lot. They pile the snow up against the museum and they pile the snow up against the fence line of the Wright House. And when the snow gets pretty deep, they come through, they scoop it up, and they tend to pile it in big piles over next to the Wright House. The state has paid to get this done. If there is a problem with that, then the state has caused that particular problem. Before we took this project on, I asked Kurt and Terry to really walk around the house, take a real good look at the foundation. They did. They could not see anything wrong with the foundation. Kurt has been under the house. He saw no problems under there except for where we raised the floor underneath what is known as the living room. So I'd like it laid to rest. A lot of people have said that house is sound and can be reconstructed and should not be torn down. Next, the cost of the insurance. This has always been a question. I have talked to members of council, Linda and Marcia, for what, 2 years? I've asked for some kind of a cost and said that maybe we could help with the cost or pay it all. I have never gotten a number. I've been told that the rate was high because the building was listed as unoccupied, and I was asked to focus on getting the building ready to use, which is exactly what I did. About a year ago, was asked a couple of times, is usable yet? And I told, no, it's not ready to go. It's not safe. Last winter, for the first time, the Sumter Volunteers held a meeting in there. And the reason we could get into the house was because of the snow shelter over the steps. Those steps have always been, or the old steps have always been unusable because of the way the snow comes off and becomes ice on top of the steps. I've been out there with pickaxe trying to kick the ice off those steps. Almost impossible without tearing the steps out. Told Marcia, Linda, we're using the house. I don't know, exactly what happened with the insurance company, if you're able to do anything, but Marcia, a couple of months ago, you asked me if the back ladies could use it. I said, sure, it's ready to go, but you back down because there's no usable restroom in there, right?
The bag ladies just had ceased to exist.
Well, you would ask me at that time, Marcia.
Yeah.
Okay. The other issue is the CIS line item value. For those that don't know, CIS, city insurance, is more or less a specialized insurance company. They're not quite a monopoly, but they really control an issue like this because most companies won't get into it. So they get away with a lot of stuff. They have a line value of that house for $298,000. If it would burn down, they're not going to pay you that. I'll tell you right now. I think the city should do everything they can to reduce the cost of that line item and get the cost of the insurance down and tell us what it is so we can go to work on it. Martin keeps talking about tearing the house down. Kurt and Terry told me as a rough estimate, it would cost probably $25,000 to tear that house down and haul it to the dump. If the cost of that building is $1,000 a year for insurance, that's 25 years in insurance in 1 year. That's not very good economics. Off the subject, Martin went at us about the volunteers holding funds for the fire department. Told it's not legal. Coincidentally, I ran into another attorney very shortly after Martin said that, asked that same question. That attorney said, there is no problem with you doing that.
Who was the attorney?
So I contacted Nonprofit Association of Oregon. First, I sent in a general question about receiving fire department donations. And I basically got a general answer back. So I got specific. I talked about how we put the fire boot out at the hamburger stand, the hot dog stand. Told her that every night we count that money, it goes to the fire department line item. And that when the chief, and only the chief, wants to expend some of that money, he makes the decision. A lot of the times I'll go online, order it, put it on my Visa, get an invoice. Kurt will sign the invoice. I go to Nancy and I get reimbursed. Want to know if there's any problem with doing that. As example 2, I said we raised funds to paint the old white truck red. Put out fire boots, help us paint the truck. We raised enough money to do it. That money was used to paint that truck. I got a reply back from the lady, quote, I don't see anything wrong with what you are doing. In fact, by purchasing gear and handing over to the fire department, you are doing things smartly. If you receive further criticism, ask attorney to document whether he is concerned about IRS rule and Oregon Department of Justice rule, municipal law. Unless he gives you a citation for what specific error you may be making, ignore him. If he actually gives you any kind of citation, I am happy to research it, unquote. Both Leanne and I have gone through the ORSs relating to nonprofit. We don't see anything. Now, the big bugaboo, permits. Fall of 2017, Jerry Booth, no permits required. April 2018, Kim, no permits required. 2 years ago, after the state approved the snow shelter over the front steps, I called Dawn, told her what we were doing, asked her if we needed a permit, and she said no. And you heard her say that in this meeting, in the meeting where Martin raised all the cane. Now, suddenly we need permits. Fine, no problem. The Friday after that meeting, I believe it was the Friday, I put the permits in. We're still in the holding pattern because since we don't have the lease and we're the ones that went for the permits, there's a lot of confusion and Dawn isn't going to do anything about it until something is straightened out. But the results, frankly, I'm not worried about it because Kurt has been our advisor all along on this. And Kurt and I discussed it early on and decided early on. We want to treat every project in that house as though we had a permit and we were going to be inspected. We didn't want to play around with anything, and that's exactly what we have done. Any projects in the future, we'll take care of the permits. If that's what they want now, fine. But you know, what really were we supposed to do? We were told for 3 years, no permits required, numerous times. Interesting little sideline. Remember the faucet down at the hub that all of you okayed last year? Well, I was in there about a week ago. I asked some of the inspectors, okay, we want to put a water line in on city property and we're going to pay for it all. The only thing city guys will do is just hook it up to the city water line. The existing line down near the hub or on the park, right? And the guy said, well, you're going to need a permit. The city now needs a permit to do that project. I don't know where they're going with this, but as a side comment, I know the issues the fire department in Baker is having and EMS is money issues. I can't help but wonder if some of this is over money, but that's beyond my pay range. ADA ramps. Dawn is still researching it. As of Monday, she had not researched it or had not completed it. I've had a lot of comments because of the age of the building. We won't need ADA ramps. And the thing is, we cannot change the initial structure of that house. In other words, the width of the doors. Therefore, how can we even make it ADA compatible? But Dawn will let us know. John, you could have come to me anytime and I would have led you around that house and showed you everything we've done because I got nothing to hide.
John.
Instead,
And John,
No.
John, you could have came to me and talked to me too.
no,
Don't
you
start.
You're talking to
You have as much
council.
weight as Leanne
You're
does.
talking to council, not him. So,
Okay.
sorry.
I would have gladly showed John around, showed him what we did. Instead, he decided to write his little attack letters, not knowing what was happening over there, and accusing us of things. And I will forego the rest of my statements.
So,
We've also been accused of violating the lease. Kerry Clark has offered to hire his attorney or pay his attorney to contact the city attorney and find out how we have violated the lease. Secondly, I would like to know how council violated the lease and allowed John Patterson on the property while our lease was valid. And if you read the lease, council has to contact an officer of the volunteers before letting a member of council or a city employee on there. We'll let the lawyers handle that, if you want to take it that far. The other possibilities we talked about, give it back to state. I talked to Randy, some of you remember her, the state park lady. She said right now, the state has decided that, number one, they have no money to restore anything like that. Number two, they are not going to let any volunteer groups work on any state property because of the state bidding laws. So if we give it back to the state, it's dead. It's going to sit there and rot again. Now, another possibility, I don't remember if we talked about this or not. Think about selling it to the volunteers for $1. We take all the costs on us. We could put covenants in there that if we dissolve or stop working on the house, then we could either give it back to the city or back to the state and make an arrangement like that. And we get all the responsibility and all the costs. Has council even bothered to look at the house? You know, Debbie Bliss went out there in her own time and money and planted flowers in those front planters. They're dead and dying. Greg Bliss has been over there mowing the lawn. He's done it at least twice this year so far. The front yard needs mowing. The backyard doesn't because the state guys just kind of looking over there wondering what's going on. The other day, they took the state mower and went over and mowed the lawn. So I thank them for the help, but the lawn is starting to dry out. I can't go water the lawn like I've done for 2 years. All of my gear is locked up inside the house, all of my timers, all my hose, and I can't go in there. I have a challenge for council. Anytime there's a trainload of people in, go stand in the front yard, act like you're working in there, say hello to the people that come around. You're going to be amazed at how many people ask, what are you doing? And you tell them, well, we're restoring this old house. And how many of those people are complimentary about what's been done? They're enthralled about the city or somebody wanting to restore that old house. Go stand over there and give it a try sometime. Also want to point out that I know I wind up as a spokesman, but it's just not me working on that house. There's at least 15 people who have either donated time over there on that house or donated money to help with the project. 15 people. That's not counting the people that go down and work at the hot dog stand, knowing that some of the money could wind up at the Right House or at the Hub or with the fire department, that they coming down and help with the hot dog stand. You've got 30 citizens that are willing to put time in on that building. I'd like our lease back. And I think together we can solve any problems that are up. Linda, when we announced, the merchants and the volunteers announced we were going to take on July 4th flea market, you were happy we were working together and it worked out well. Well, I say we can work together again, get all those permits taken care of. And if I understand Dawn correctly, it's kind of like we need almost to get our lease back so that we can have the place done.
She's
Or-
holding the permits.
Huh?
She's holding permits
Yeah.
for the city's decision. But
Either we get the lease back or you guys have to go apply for the
I'm
permit.
gonna tell you right now, John, I don't think that those permits and inspection, you're gonna be able to pass it, because Steve Shallow said, we need to go back to the outside, because it's still leaning. We still need to fix the outside structural before we do anything inside.
And he's one inspector and two other
That is the
inspectors.
same, but that is what they said in 2010.
Well, then Linda, go tear the house down.
I don't want to tear the house
Well,
down.
then, let's work
But what
together.
I'm saying is, we should have gotten a grant to bring in somebody. Well, you stop, but you get a grant, you get money, you get somebody to do all the outside correctly, and then guess what? the volunteers can do whatever they want inside. You know, it's a two-way
Well,
street.
then what do
John.
you want us to do?
Well, that's what we have to discuss, is what we want to do with that house, because the inspector was not happy with what he saw. And I talked to you about the front porch.
Yeah.
You know, he was
And the
not,
front porch is not completed, Linda.
I know,
It
but,
shouldn't even be deep.
but when you restore a house, you don't cut into the original posts.
Linda, have you noticed all those little circles all around the house?
I know,
That's where the state cut
I
in the
know.
original boards and pumped in
But
insulation.
for proper restoration, it needs to, the outside needs to be fixed, the underneath needs to be fixed. And before we do anything else, and this is what this council, I mean, you know, I have always supported the volunteers. But we have to take a step back on this and make sure it's done right. You know, from ground up. So, I mean, your time's appreciated, but we as council have to decide where we want to go with this. And we need to do that.
Well, I know where Martin wants to go with it.
Well, he's.
Do you want chance?
Yeah, just a minute, I'm not through.
Well,
you
you've
just-
made that pretty
John,
clear.
John, I'm just one person, but we need to discuss it. Because, you know, I'd love to see the house get restored, but we need to do it right, and we, you know, you just have to give us the time to figure it out and not take
Okay.
it so personal.
Can
You know,
I,
This is
can I
for the
at
better
least-
of the house.
can I at least get permission to go get, I have tools
I will
in there.
go with you tomorrow and get your stuff. ready.
I'd like to get the hoses out and start watering the lawn again.
Just,
You know?
I will go with you tomorrow and we'll get all that stuff. I've been gone, I haven't had time. But we as council now need to discuss it on where we want to go. I'm only one opinion. So,
Okay,
but you know, I just, you know, so, thank you.
You need approval from the building code enforcement
Well, I
officer
know.
to go in, okay? You
Uh,
can't just go traipsing in.
she said I could take him in and go in there.
I'd like that in writing.
Okay.
yeah, you better get it in writing, the way things go around here.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I'll be around the rest of the week,
Okay,
so,
so, but we need to discuss what we want to do about your lease.
okay,
So, thank you.
okay, thank you.
I think John had a question.
Yes, Sean.
Dawn is available for a phone call. She can't come up here, but she can call
I
in.
know, I have been in contact with them just about every day.
Okay.
So, you know, I know how to get a hold of them. So we need to discuss what we want to do. I mean, because we've had plenty of conversation about this. It's time we decide which way we're going.
Okay,
Mhm.
the recitation we got from John was, illusory at best. It was full of lies.
Baloney.
Okay, let him have his say. and then-
Yeah, pipe down.
You pipe down.
Guys,
Kiss my.
both of you,
Thank you.
come on, let's speak.
Okay.
I'll just have them removed from the meeting.
Okay, you two, let's just be civil here.
But the White House was red tagged. The report we got from SHPO says at page 11, it has to be made handicapped accessible. Okay? That's the SHPO report, page 11. Most of you have not seen page 11.
Okay, that's just someone.
Okay. Now,
What document
John.
is that?
Just-
that's the SHPO report. You have a copy of it.
Which one? The preservation plan?
Yes.
The preservation plan is only recommendation.
Oh,
I talked to
okay.
Randy about that on Sunday.
Okay, well,
And that's
It's not
BS
like-
too.
go ahead, okay.
Okay.
guys, we're not gonna
Now,
do it
John
today.
says he has these things about the fire department and all that. I want to see the letters. I want to know the name of the lawyer. I want to see it because I think John's full
Well, you're
No.
talking
Now-
about, you're talking about something that's.
of them. Okay. The, I talked to Gary Booth.
Okay,
Gary Booth quit being a building inspector before the state gave up the property. He has not told John Young or anybody that no permits are required. Ken Hall hasn't either. And Don assures me that Kim, I said, Ken, I can hear you. And I said,
hey, we're gonna stop this discussion, if we can't be civil,
that's fine. Tell him.
I'm telling you both.
Kim, she assures me Kim would never have said that.
I see that.
We know that, yeah,
I've got the
I
same
want to
one.
read these emails into the record. John read some
No, we
emails.
aren't.
I want them part of the record. I'm entitled to do
We
that.
can attach it, no, because Paige says we aren't supposed to read documents.
Okay, then I'll give the document. I won't read it.
Okay,
And the
we'll add
people
it
can
on.
read it.
We can add it
What a
in.
bunch of crap this is.
Because we as council have those documents.
Yes, we do, but the public's entitled to them too.
Right, and we can attach it to the meeting, the minutes,
Okay, if I'm assured that will occur,
yes.
Kim, or not Kim, Dawn is very upset with all this.
I know.
And I don't think we should give a lease to them. They did violate it. They violated, they didn't have the insurance. They didn't give the notice required in writing to re-up it. All sorts of things. They didn't have the building permits. You know, it's just one giant screw. So until it can be done properly, and if it has to be torn down, then it has to be torn down. If they don't want to tear it down, then at least let's get on a program that doesn't take till the next millennium to get it completed.
Well, this is what I would suggest.
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
So if you folks want to give a lease, you can outvote me as usual.
Mhm.
But I think that you are doing a gross miscarriage of the public trust that's been placed in you for that building. If somebody gets hurt in there, you know, I want it to be on record, I wasn't for anybody being in there, except someone who's trained to do it, and the volunteers are not. They're not contractors. It was a contractor to undo what they've done.
So do you want to hear what I would suggest?
Now, go ahead.
That the city retain the house right now, we don't give a lease. And that I will, and maybe with help from Marcia, we will find a grant to get a contractor to do the structural. Because that's where it has to start with, is the structural.
I thought we had a grant right.
Hmm?
I thought we had a grant right.
Well, the state of Oregon has sent links that we can go out there for historical buildings to get grants. We aren't gonna write the grant. We're gonna go out to the links they gave us and find something, because that's what the gal at the state said. That way you can get somebody that actually knows what to do with these old homes as far as getting it from leaning.
Like the two Leo Adler grants. Yes.
So, well, we found, so anyway, that's what I would suggest, that for right now, just everybody to take a step back, when the city retains the house and we get it worked on structurally. Yes, John?
Yes, Linda. Anything that Don writes is public record and can be read.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not,
No,
No,
he
I'm
can read that if he
not
wants
even
to.
saying no. Our city attorney said you're not supposed to be in the habit of reading documents. Not personal documents, letters and stuff like that. We will, if this is public record, it'll be attached to our minutes.
The public won't know what it said because we don't get to see your minutes.
The minutes are public.
There, I don't
record.
have them.
And Leanne,
You guys
her
talk
speech.
about the reading. We used to get them.
They're on
We
the
had it for about a year and a half.
website, they're all posted.
Yeah.
They're all.
Where
posted.
at?
The city's website,
September 14th, 2021 is not posted.
September
So we have
14th,
issues with that.
2021. 2021? Well, the current ones are, and these will be posted. So anyway, that's my suggestion. You guys need to discuss it. Mark, we know how Martin feels. The other two. I mean, we just need to decide which way we're going on that today, because I'm tired of taking phone calls and emails about it.
I don't want the building tore down. I would prefer to hunt for some grants for the time being and see if we can't get the structural part of it fixed. It's a starting point.
I agree. But I have one other question, and Martin, when Don was here and Don was talking about the permits, did I misunderstand? Because she was saying before the house was being presented as a house, not a commercial building, to where this is actually a house that's being turned into a commercial building. Is that not what I understood? Did I misunderstand?
I think when it came in the ownership of the city, and to be restored, it was a commercial building at that point.
Yeah, oh, well, I just wanted to make sure that I understood Don right.
Yeah, which. Jennifer?
I'm just gonna add my 2 bits real quick.
Okay. Yeah, well, like I said, I've had a lot of 2 cents on this thing.
No, it's not angry at all.
Okay,
Before you apply for historic grants, especially in the state of Oregon or in the Northwest, you have to have a comprehensive plan of action for that home. They will want that submitted along with the application. There is no plan on that house. There is never, it's never been written other than what the state park notebook said.
yeah.
You've never adopted that, nor did the Sumter Valley Volunteers adopt that notebook.
Okay, yeah, because we do, they self-funded plan. Okay, I made note of that. Thank you. So what do you guys want to do? Do I have a motion to go one way or the other on this?
Go ahead. At this time, I would just assume, I make a motion that the city, look for avenues on restoration grants and not renew the contract.
And I'll second.
Okay. Motion to made, all in favor?
Aye.
No,
No, okay.
don't want to disappoint.
Aye. Okay, so we'll find grants. Okay. The next thing,
Could we take a recess for just a minute?
yeah. So I'm gonna have to get some clean notes. Oh. So, what?
So let's dive in.
Still, I can't. We'll do that first. Oh.
It should be live on Zoom and YouTube.
Okay, we have several more things for old business first. Martin, I wanted to let you know that Trevor with that does the runners, the Elkhorn runners, wanted me to thank you for the stop sign.
Oh,
Because he asked about it and I told him it was your suggestion, so he said you.
well, it's actually birds. But thank you, and
Okay.
Tim and Jeff.
Okay,
got
but
on
anyway,
board.
he just said they really appreciated it, so I'm gonna pass it on. We need to, for our second reading of measure 109, the psilocybin products. We need to do the reading as their second one. Is everybody okay to read this by title only? I have a motion to read it by title only.
Yes.
Well, so,
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
all right.
Okay. So it's City of Sumter ordinance number 2022-1, an ordinance declaring a ban on psilocybin service centers and the manufacture of psilocybin products. And then we have the full ordinance. So is there any questions on this, or do we want to vote to go this and do a resolution for the ballot?
I'm so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And I think, did you say that Paige sent us? Yeah. So she sent us the drafts that we can get out to everybody.
With the correct numbers in it.
I don't know, I haven't seen it yet, but we'll find out. I haven't seen it yet. So we'll get that out. And I don't know, we want to do, I guess, employee handbook. We got Renee gave us the pages of some of the changes we were talked about doing. In regards, one was training and one was compensation. And then Marcia has provided us with a draft of the current hourly wages and if they got a COLA or a step increase, what it would be.
So are we going to adopt this measure on the handbook and pass the new handbook and then, are we going to discuss the COLA and the step increases? Because that is part of the handbook.
That's
Using
part of
the
the
step
handbook,
increase
so-
ladder,
Yeah.
step by resolution. That is what I've come up with. You guys have it. It's on a scale up to 15 years and then from 15 to 25 or 20, it's usually nothing. Started out, some of the cities are doing 60 cents, some are doing 50 cents. There is no one doing any lower than 30 cents. This guarantees them without a pay raise, without them coming for a pay raise, that each year that they're here, they get a step increase. It is a municipality and a lot of municipalities have that. And then with the COLA, that's just the standard, the cost of living has gotten higher. So we need to at least implement a COLA. But this, if the city can't afford raises, this guarantees them, and it takes the personal equation out of the council versus the employees, that every year they're here, that is their raise. We can give them merit raises at their time of evaluations. So it's a minimal thing. And I show what it raises if they all get this was based on a 2% COLA, not a 5 or a 3. So it's an increase of $6,280 for all 3 employees for the year. If they get their last 2 years of COLAs, which would be 62 cents. Step increases. And then the COLA, but I had it set at 2%. Doesn't raise it very much, 0.975 to go from a 2% to a 5% COLA. It doesn't give them very much. I wrote that one on yours, didn't I?
Yeah, I've got.
What did it go from on the 1950?
It went to 2048
Yeah, so they go from 1950 to 2048
with a 5% COLA.
with 5%. So it's, there's not a big difference between the 2 and the 5.
Hello.
But it's something council needs to decide if they want to implement that into the handbook of the municipality. It's a yearly step increase. It's just automatic at their anniversary of employment. It's minimal.
We're gonna do it on their anniversary, or we're gonna do it as a physical
Anniversary,
year of the city?
step increases are on their anniversary when they were hired. The COLAs are done, I think COLA's probably on the fiscal year of July 1st.
You can do it any way you want.
Yeah.
It's just a council decision, something I worked up. Then when they have their evaluations, if the city is strapped, we know they at least got a small increase in their wages. Or we can give them merit raises on top of what they get. And it just goes up 2 cents every year.
So we're gonna put your proposal into the handbook totally, or you're gonna set it as a resolution?
Well, it would be set as a resolution, but you have to decide if you want that in the
Yes.
handbook using a step increase ladder by resolution.
And
If
what it
that's
says.
the case and it passes, then the resolution's here, it gives you, figures are here, it gives you something to look at.
And it says providing raises using a step increase ladder set by resolution.
And then the resolution would also cover the COLA, is that correct? We would have a resolution.
Yeah, because the COLA's can change, I mean, they're.
2% is nothing.
No,
This year.
Yeah, this year it's
they actually gave 5% this year.
And that can be changed when we do it.
That's what I mean, we can change, that's something we can change.
every year,
So,
So we need to
It
pass
didn't
it.
amount to much.
First thing we need to do is pass the
well,
employee handbook, eh?
no, this is gonna be something we're changing into the. Part of the employee handbook.
Because really that 2% COLA on Tim's, just for example, on Tim's wages is only 39 cents more an hour.
Well, we need to do a resolution to decide what we want to do.
Yeah.
But do we want to put this into the handbook, the step increase ladder set by resolution?
My feeling is COLAs are great because everybody's costs go up.
Right.
I'm not in favor of step increases just because you managed not to get fired during the preceding year. So I think merit increases are great, not step increases.
Thing is, with the step increases, if you do have an employee that's definitely not doing their job, you can put them on probation and hold up their step. But
And part of the merit raise is if they're doing an excellent job, you can step them up 2 steps.
This doesn't say you can put them on hold and keep their
Stay
staff.
on it there, we're gonna add that clause.
well, I mean, it's just, you can. I mean, I
Remember
don't know,
how-
I know Martin doesn't like steps, and I don't think you did either, so I think we're kind of at a standstill here.
I'm all for the COLA
Yeah,
and merit increases.
so,
Well,
And on the step increases, part of my problem is it comes back to whether the city has money or not. But at the same token, we have a bigger issue than this because the employees that we currently have are anywhere from $7 to $8 an hour short from other little local towns. And this ain't a very big deal, but it does give them something. It gives them a little hope. However, if I was going to do a step increase, which I can do, and I follow it because of the new way the world works, but I would want that in there to where if you're not the way that you had it worded, to where if they're not up to snuff, we can put a hold on their step. However, that is, as far as I'm concerned, that's the same thing as saying you're gonna do an evaluation, and if you ain't doing your job, we're not gonna give you a raise.
That's what it is.
That's what we're doing, but the thing is, all this is doing is tying the city in, saying the raise that you're gonna get is gonna be this. And if you, am I
Hold it up, you probably trigger all sorts of due process rights too.
So,
In other words, you got the right to a hearing.
Yeah.
Why'd you hold mine
oh,
up?
yeah, that's what I mean. It's a process. You have to document, have definite reason to. You can't just say, I don't like him. I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna go with this because I like step increases, so.
well, like I said, the step increases is something that I can agree with, but I think that we need to be able to hold that if you're not doing your job efficiently or however you want to word it, to where we need to figure out what we're going to do to get you back in line.
So, and we really need to make sure that we need to probably have Paige look at these pages. I guess let's split this off. Do we want to approve a COLA? I mean, we need to get.
I make a motion that we approve the COLA
How much,
for this year, 2%.
Well, when I make the ordinance no less than 2%.
yeah.
Well, that's
We-
fine.
in the handbook, it says a minimum of no less than 2%, or COLA no less than 2%. So we are going to approve, because we'll have to do by resolution to set the percentage.
Right.
So then basically I'm gonna make a motion to add to the employee handbook that, a COLA of no less than 2% will be given at the beginning of each fiscal year and add that to the handbook.
Okay. So
At
second,
least
The physical year of July, right?
yeah.
Yes, July 1st.
All second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll put that into the handbook.
So to see where it stands, I'm gonna make a motion to include the city council will strive to maintain market standards by providing raises using a step increase ladder set by resolution.
Okay, do I have a second? So we're gonna have to take this back and figure it out.
So you're gonna take that out of the handbook?
Well,
But just didn't get approved
it just
within.
didn't get
Yeah.
approved in yet. We need to, we have to put something in here about increases. So we're gonna have to have another meeting to get this figured out.
What about the next thing
The
about,
next, under training. Okay, this was in regards to the training, encourage them, a financial stipend will be provided each pay period for each certification by the city and set by resolution. So, if an employee leaves employment within, there's a question of time of completion of training, the employee may be required to repay the city for training and education on a sliding scale set by resolution. So the question on this statement was the time frame. I think, Martin, you said 2 years?
is that what I said?
Yes. I
And I'll
believe-
stay with it.
Okay.
But I think also, if they leave it in 2 years for other than council approved hardships,
Mhm.
they gotta repay it. I
So,
mean, if they turn into a quadriplegic, can't do the job, I don't want to bring back.
if an employee leaves employment
Without council approval?
without counsel,
No, because of hardship,
okay,
because of council approved hardship.
okay. So this reads, if an employee leaves employment without council approval within completion of training, the employee may be required to repay. So this statement says they're going to have to repay. So shouldn't it be if an employee leaves employment within 2 years of completion of training without the approval of council?
Yeah,
Of hardship.
Okay,
Well, hardship will be defined however
yeah,
you want it to. Unless you.
the employee may be required to pay training on a sliding scale, except under the resolution. So we need to do that sliding scale too, so. So, okay, we're gonna have to do some more work on this.
What was the time frame that you all
Well,
chose to?
Two,
You want a motion?
yeah.
Also.
Second it,
I'll second it.
all in favor, all opposed, me. I don't know for 2 years. Okay, so we need to get,
You were against.
yeah, I don't know for 2 years.
What do
It
you?
comes and goes so fast. It comes and goes so fast. Christmas is already here, and we just
I know.
got rid of snow.
Okay, so we need to do those changes, and we need to do a resolution for the COLA. And we need to,
Do you want to vote on what your percent, so that when we do the resolution, it can automatically put in there, or do you want to have a workshop?
I think we're gonna do a resolution on, yeah, we'll have a resolution on what the COLA is gonna be.
So we need
Because
to vote on
it's-
that
yeah.
right now.
Because I don't know if we want to leave it at 2%, or we can vote on it right now if we want to set it. at COLA.
Why don't we wait till the next meeting when Rob tells us,
Okay,
what he sees when he looks into it one more time.
yeah, well, yeah. He'll say, whatever you think, but I'll try again.
And then, on the other part for the step increase, are you going to talk to see with Paige to see what?
Yeah, I'm gonna get some verbiage
Legalities
from her,
are of it?
yeah, I'll get some verbiage from her, yeah, but I'll do that.
Well,
And-
the step increase got voted down.
Well,
To do it
it died
immediately for now,
lack
but the
of
thing is, though, Linda was saying that she was gonna get a hold of
pay.
the Paige to see
If we can
the
hold it
legalities
up,
of it.
of holding them up.
Oh.
So I will get that information and then we'll get another meeting set up. Okay, then, let's see. City Hall security. Did you find anything out about that, Marcia?
I did, and I went back and talked to a couple people, and the one I talked to, they went through Davis computers, and, of course, they have the windows all done and everything, but they said it's very, very spendy. And I don't know if we can afford very, very
Did you
spendy.
talk to Jenny?
Yes, yeah, they went to the other system.
And is it working well for them?
It's working very well. The, link, what's the other one besides link, ring?
Like,
You had a suggestion.
Didn't quite suit their purposes. But for us coming in and out, it would probably suit us. Because
ring.
it's not as
How many cameras do they have on that system?
on the ring.
On their,
I can't remember what she told me. She had 4, 5
but they haven't had any glitches or any problems with it?
on the ring. They don't have that anymore.
No, they don't have.
No, they went to Davis Computer and
No,
had,
they like to do.
yeah, they had the windows done and everything, so if you even move a window, it
Okay.
will alarm them and 911.
Who did that? Who's this?
Jenny,
Oh,
The courthouse. They have a lot to lose.
but they have a lot of money.
Did
yeah.
ADT ever get back to us?
And I've tried calling them too, and you sit on hold forever.
Okay, so I'm gonna table this so we can get some more hard numbers.
I'll start calling them some more.
Okay, on this wastewater lagoon survey. We're back to this guy. We have,
What about this?
well, sometimes I miss that one too. No, I'll get to that.
Okay.
Oh, that's the, never mind, that's the health security tool.
Well, that's what
Okay,
Wow.
we have this Go keyless that I think is gone. Sure, got it? Brought it in?
Yeah.
This is, key card. No, oh, keypad, and everybody has a separate keypad or, number. And we can turn it off, like you can only have access for 2 days and then it goes away. This would be on the doors, so it would track, because your code, you're attached to your name, your code, so they know who's coming and going for the doors. And so she gave us this information on these keypads, and it looked good.
I looked through that, and I didn't see where it kept track of.
The more expensive one does, the least expensive one does not.
Okay, so it'll say code number 123 came in at 10 a.m.
Yep, you just have to hook it to the laptop, it'll download all of its information and you know who came and went when.
Or the new web also.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because I believe, oh, maybe not when,
You'd have to punch something in.
in order to tell what.
but
what
it's
time.
only what, $75 difference on this thing, isn't it? The DL 280 and the DL 270.
What about through our?
You have to have the internet for that stuff, I think, I'm not certain, but in order to program those cards, you have to be able to tell it. to
But
do
that would work on City Hall, but just not on the other city buildings.
Right.
But I think we're just gonna go for City Hall at the present time anyway, aren't we?
But this is just
Yeah.
this is an option to look at that would tell you who's actually coming and going and when. So, and the nice thing is you can turn the codes on and off.
And
So-
change the codes.
Yeah. So you can give somebody.
Change the code per person on the express terminal, right?
Mhm.
On both of them.
Oh, on
Yeah,
both
you
of
can
them.
change that.
So anyway, that was a suggestion.
And
for-
that eliminates, 20 keys.
Now
So if
that-
this is something you want me to check into, I can ask the locksmith and baker if this is something that he can install, because this is, I don't think this is something the guys.
No,
can
we have to
install.
install. You might see what the price is to
Yeah.
install something like that. Gives me several doors. Okay, now to the lagoon waste, the survey. We got 2 bids on it. The original guy came back, because he originally told us we had to get a boat and provide him with a boat and a motor. And I think now he came back and said that
You just need a guy.
it would include him, a boat and a motor, so he kind of changed his price, and the other one is $4,500, and this guy will do it for $2,450. But I just talked to Tim, and he says, yes, we have to do this to be in compliance, so it is something we have to do.
That's a huge difference.
It is.
Something looks wrong.
Well, yeah, I mean, but this guy, this Scott Miller, is the one that Levi has used and recommended. So he knows our water guy.
He's local.
Yeah.
So then Oregon Association of Water Utilities has to come out, and it's $6,000 for them to come out unless they can pair us, get us in the same like Mount Vernon or Prairie City and there is another small city that's going to have it done in September, and they would just pair with us, and that's why the price is lower to $4,500. Because they come and they have to have hotel and they bring their boats and reimbursement for all this stuff. So that's why that is so expensive, is they come from that.
What's the timeline on this?
It needs to be done.
Need to be done.
This will be, it's called Python.
Yep,
Huh?
I guess so.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we need to, take
Other
a vote if
Joseph.
we want to go forward in doing this.
Well, at least we don't have to have a boat and motor.
Yeah.
Just need a guy.
We could buy the skis.
Yeah, I tried to wait for it.
So do I have a motion to, hire these guys to do our wastewater lagoon survey?
I make a motion that we hire Vygon Northwest to do the sewer lagoon survey for $2,450.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll get a hold here and we'll let Jeff and Tim know.
Hopefully we have enough water for the boat float.
Oh, yeah, they're gonna get going on that, don't they?
Yeah. So, okay, anything else, council, to bring?
No.
Okay, public comment.
I'm John Patterson. I'm the guy everyone in town hates because of the last rumor or the next rumor. What? It's public comment.
Okay.
I'd really appreciate it. Last night I was threatened by Rick Rule for doing something I didn't even know was happening. I was in Baker getting gravel and other things. I'd really appreciate if the city would take responsibility and notify people of what they are doing, so I don't get the blame for every freaking thing in this town. Why don't you be responsible for your own actions? That would be encouraging. I have no idea what to say at this point, but if you want to start rumors about me, depending on the rumor, I'll make it come true for you. John, I never turned anyone into building codes, but that weekend you were telling people I turned you into building codes, and then the merchants and Leanne were accusing us of lying because we told our 1,300 followers on Facebook page that it's a quiet market and there's no one at the fairgrounds. I don't know where in that it says, till you told everybody not to come up here. Complete lie. I'm talking.
Okay, guys. Okay.
So, if this horse shit of the rumors and the gossip and hate the Pattersons doesn't stop, then I will do it. And I wrote that letter to Shippo because that's horrible what you've done to that building. And that might be my opinion, but it's a lot of other people's too. And I don't like being attacked by the Sumter Valley Volunteers. And that's what's been happening. You're a real class act outfit if that's what you do to people. We moved here to help this community. John, I asked you a year ago when we bought our property, the park, I'd like to put in a draft point for the fire station. Never heard a word. But lo and behold, I went to that guy's house that fixes your trucks the other day to approve his generator. He told me you guys are sucking rocks up out of the river. That's a no-brainer. That pump's not just going to go bad because there's water in it. You're sucking rocks up into the impeller, breaking the impeller, and that's what's happening. He told me that, John. You can laugh all you want. But take some responsibility for your own actions for once, would you?
Sorry, I won't do this. I'm Kimberly Ballard. The reason why people don't like you is ever since you arrived here, you have been a loudmouth bully, period.
I'm not a bully.
Shut up, I'm talking.
Guys,
Okay, you're fine.
You work for all of Sumter, not just one person. And you should not be calling us all kinds of names and everything else out here. You are a mean, nasty man, period. And yeah, what you did 4th of July was bad. If you are good for this community, there was no reason for you. Everybody knew we didn't have it up at the fairground. You could have went and put the pictures on of the people that were here, and there was quite a few people here. And we are trying to keep this town afloat. You have done nothing good for this town. All you've done is for yourself, period. Thank you.
anybody else?
Yeah,
No rebuttals, brother. Okay,
I'm not allowed to answer what he just said.
well, this is not a debate, Robert. This is something council's supposed to be dealing with. Go ahead. Kim has said, make it very,
Okay.
very short.
John Young. First thing, John talked to Kurt, I understand, about having a drop point down where we used to have one. And we did have one up there where John's campground is now. But we now have a very good drop point that we discussed last year, got the letters and everything, down, across from Drake's house almost. Last meeting, and Kurt will tell you, we went out, got that drop point ready to go, checked both of the pumps. We have a screen on there. Yes, we're not concerned about rocks coming in because they can't get through that screen. What we're worried about is little sands and little tiny rocks getting in that plug up the nozzle. And that's why we didn't fill the tanks out of that. We went over the raw water hydrant because there's plenty of water over there. So that's my rebuttal on that.
Thank you. Okay, nobody else?
I make the motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
What time is it?
Oh, it is, well,
5:39.
5:39. Oh, before those who walk in
Should be cooler in the house than it is
the-
out.
Oh, I got my radio.
Yeah.